Scooby-Doo, bee-bop-a-doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, bee-bop-a-doo.
On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast, Curtis and Josh, we finish our look at the beatdown hardcore band from Boston, Massachusetts, known as Bury Your Dead. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurviveByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show. Leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment, tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Bury your dead. Bury your fucking dead. Bury your dead. Bury your dead. Bury your fucking dead. Bury your dead.
I didn't know when the end was coming. Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, sponsored by the Church of the Seventh Truck, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I am Curtis, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. What are you drinking tonight, Josh?
I got a tumbler of water here, and then we also got a
Waterloo.
nice amber edition Red Bull.
Where's the Waterloo?
No Waterloo tonight. I had a Waterloo earlier. It was a peach Waterloo.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just sitting around listening to some Bury Your Dead, being thoroughly confused throughout.
Okay. That's an interesting take. Do tell us more in due time, because I can't wait to hear. Is that I don't even know if there's a good confusion. Is it all bad?
No, by the time I got to
Mosh and
shoot,
roll?
I had something else queued up here. No, it's nothing personal.
Oh, yeah.
That was the album where I was like, okay, what's happening here?
It's a
Because
totally different band.
and it's many different vocalists.
What do you mean?
I hear there's a bunch of at least features in there that are not put down.
I was about to say I only have one feature that I found.
Which one was it?
The guy from Amir, Frankie or Frank.
Yeah, Frankie Palmieri.
Yeah, what song was that? The Forgotten.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was
it's like,
towards the end of the album.
yeah, but maybe it's like guys in the band, like guitarist and bassist.
Maybe. I swear I heard the guy from Throwdown in there also. I don't know. I had a feeling that this was not the same guy throughout. It just didn't sound like it unless he's changing his vocal style like constantly.
Well, I mean, he's the only one that's credited on it was just Mike Terry.
Yeah.
Besides, um the one song that has Frank or Frankie or whatever his name is. Oh,
Frankie Palmieri.
Amir. Oh, Amir. I'm gonna call him Amir. Amir. I was gonna check one other spot real quick here to see maybe if there was something else possibly, but as far as I can tell, yeah, there's still no other contributions, at least that were written down, or whatever. But anyway, we'll dive deeper into that when we get there. Before we do, Josh, as always, we like to start each and every episode with a little "What did you listen to this week?" So, Josh, I ask you, what did you listen to this week? Nice. It was right on cue.
I listened to a couple different things. this week, but this one I wanted to talk about for just a second. A couple of things I listened to. I listened to Crimson Corridor, Zayo.
Nice.
That was a great listen. Late at night drive.
Ooh.
That was fantastic. And then I also, what was the other one that I was listening to? Oh, Suicide Silence is No Time to Bleed. Because I was talking about that 911 call with the girl where like her neighbor had a pet chimp that like ripped her face off.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know if
You
you've
can hear
ever
the
heard
monkey in
that
the
like
background.
call
Yeah.
before, but
Yeah, I have. I know what you're talking
they
about.
use it in one of their songs, like the full recording. It just goes through like the whole song. You can like hear it in the back the whole time.
Yeah. You can hear the monkey too, right? In the background
Yeah,
of the phone call. Yeah.
but I
Freaking
was
out.
talking I was talking to somebody about that, and then of course I had to listen to the album afterwards,
Like, I
and
gotta listen to it now.
it's like, God, dude, the cleansing or not the cleansing. Yeah, I think that is the name of the album actually. Um,
From Suicide Silence?
yeah, their first album. Um, yeah, cleansing. I know for a lot of people that's their favorite Suicide Silence album, but I would argue No Time to Bleed. It only comes out a year later, and they've really just perfected and honed everything that they were trying to do in the first album, and it just hits so hard. And then the
Which,
album
yeah.
ends with Disengage, which I would argue is one of the hardest hitting like deathcore ends to an album.
Yeah. And it makes sense of what you're saying coming off of, I mean, just a year later, it makes sense. It's like, okay, we're still kind of doing the same thing. It's not a big change or anything, but it's a perfected piece of it, basically,
Right.
or better,
But
better done, whatever. But anyway,
um the album I wanted to bring up to talk about, As I Lay Dying, Shadows of Security, 2005. This album, I know you're a big fan of Words Collapse. I
mm,
think you said that was your favorite As I Lay
yeah,
Dying album. I feel like Shadows of Security is the perfect blend of An Ocean Between Us and Frail Words Collapse.
which makes
Because,
sense because it's right in between.
right, right. But as I was listening to it, it was like you can really hear those elements that they had just started to introduce in Shadows of Security that would go on to be, their defining sound from An Ocean Between Us and on. And those are like just being developed there. And it also still has that really raw feel of Frail Words Collapse. So I don't know. It was just, you don't always, with those transitioning albums, get a really good view into the two albums on either side of it like you do with Shadows of Security, you know?
Right.
What's up?
Josh, why did I why did I go to their Wikipedia page? Well,
For
let
who?
me for As I Lay Dying.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and say, you know, um we all know what happened in the middle of their history, right? With Tim
Uh-huh.
Lambesis, his jail time.
Yep.
Um
You
Very
mean
recent.
Tim's attempt to have his wife killed?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so you know he's the only remaining member left, right? Like their drummer, their founding drummer, he just left recently.
Yes.
And so it's just basically him. And actually it looks like he is actually the only member that's actually I guess like because I thought there was some other guys that were actually a part of it, but maybe they all left too or something. Anyway, doesn't matter. This deal pops up here just like 3 or 4 days ago, November 27th, 2024, Josh. Let me read this. A home security video surfaced that appeared to show Lambesis in a heated argument with his now estranged wife, striking himself repeatedly in the head and chest. Lambesis quickly responded saying that he was filing for divorce and a restraining order against his wife, alleging that she has been physically and emotionally abusing him and that he would also be initiating a domestic violence investigation as a result. Rumors of abuse had been circulating during the band's October departures, but were denied by Lambesis's wife. This dude just like he can't stay out of his own way, can he? I'm not looking forward to talking about this band.
Yeah, it's gonna be
And it sucks because we love the music,
right.
but it's hard to separate the music from the man, you
Well, I
know?
think we're both like more familiar too with every
Oh, you
stuff
just
happening.
okay, yeah, I think when you move the mic, it just kind of cut it out there a little bit. You're good now.
We good though? Okay.
Yeah, you're good now, but when you kind of touched it and you moved it, I think you were too hard on your mic earlier. You're
Probably.
going too hard,
I was
bro.
going a little too hard.
Oh man.
Yeah, everything that they've put out post all that happening, I feel like is what we're not the most familiar with. So when that episode comes, I think we'll focus more in this area. It'll be like the brand new
Blinders on.
episode, you know?
Oh
Or
God,
like,
yeah. We'll address it. We don't agree with it. We like the music, some of it. But anyway, yeah. Um, yeah, Fair Words are definitely my favorite album, but Shadows and Security is a good one too, though. I had
oh
to check
yeah.
myself after I said it was in between Frail Words and Ocean Between. I was like, wait, is there one in between Frail Words and Shadows and Security? But no. Good. Very nice, Josh. Very nice. Let me see here. Let me see if you recognize this album cover, Josh. There you go. This one's for you. Let, let, look up. Look at my screen.
Oh, is that Legia?
Legia. Yeah,
Okay.
Legia. I forget what the album's called. The Ghost is something. The Ghost is your gift or something like that, I think.
The Gift of Your
The
Ghost.
gift of your ghost, yeah.
Okay.
I had it, but you
Late
know.
night ghost gifts.
Your ghost is a gift. Ooh. Yeah, this was a throwback. I think it was listening to Bury Your Dead and go into like shuffle mode after an album ends. And eventually came across a Legia song. I was like, oh shoot! I forgot all about this band. Oh, I'm gonna put the album on. Go listen to it.
Have you?
It's a good one, but it doesn't production wise. Of course, it's their very first one.
Oh
It doesn't
no.
hold up, just like
Is this the first time you've listened to it since probably like high school?
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Why is that?
I dug it out maybe a year or two ago. It was like the
Okay.
first time I had since then. And same thing, it just popped up and I was like, oh my God, like I almost forgot about Legia.
Throwback.
So of course I had to listen to that. Yeah, that album.
Yeah. Do you remember listening to the other one? I haven't listened to that. Bad News, I think is what it's called.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, they only had two albums, but
Yeah.
I think they put out,
Classic.
I'm trying to
Classic for the
remember,
time. All you gotta do is put out two and you're good. That's it. You're done.
right. Two, and we're done. I was trying to remember if I thought they put out like a EP recently or something like that, or last like decade or so, maybe. Um, or maybe not. I thought I saw something. Oh, I guess the last thing they put out was in 2011, an EP, Welcome to Palm City. Which was completely free. Nice. All right. Anyway, carrying on. Shall we change our backgrounds back, Josh? Shall we? I think we shall. What?
I said, we shall, Curtis. We shall change our backgrounds, but not to what you think, my friend. Because this is the introduction of a brand new segment on the History of the
Oh,
Cores
geez, here we
podcast,
go.
known as Coheed Corner. All right,
He
so
is super excited for the new album.
you know that we have to talk Vaxis.
I mean, it's
Uh,
not out yet.
no, we got to talk Vaxis 3 though. We
Yeah,
got
it's
to
not
talk
out yet.
what's coming. No, but we got the announcement about it in the last couple weeks here. How are we feeling? What's the general feel?
I mean, I do like the new single. What was it called?
Searching for Tomorrow.
Yes, I do like that. Um, you're are you have you listened any more to Sunnyside, whatever,
Blindside Sunny.
Blindside Sunny? Good Lord, I'm having
Sunny
trouble
Side
with
Up.
Sunny Side Up, Eggs. Have you listened to the Eggs song? No. Have you listened to it more? Like, has it grown on you? Because when we ended that series, you had brought up that single and how a lot of people were kind of saying, this isn't really Coheed, you know,
Yeah,
and it's going to be on this album. And I think I told you too, it was like, I'm more interested to see, like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, we can't go back. We can be like, take it off the album. Um, I'm more interested to see like how it works with the songs around it.
right. What does Mary of Mercy sound like? What does Play the Poet sound like?
Right.
Um, yeah, and I was actually pretty stoked that we got the full track list. I did not think we would be getting that so soon.
Oh, what? Why
Yeah.
not?
I don't know. I just didn't
It's
think, oh,
2024 though, man. I mean, it seems like anymore they just put the track list out. They don't make you
yeah.
wait for that stuff.
We got a release date for it, March 14th. So we will definitely be revisiting that. And as quick as this podcast ends, I will be purchasing this.
So this podcast will never end. I will continue to blabber on for the rest of my life if I have to
No,
keep
I'm
Josh
picking I'm picking
from
this
getting
bad
one of
boy up,
those.
Curtis. I'm picking this bad boy up.
I will get it.
It
What
comes
are you?
with it comes with Vaxis Act 3, the father of make-believe hardcore illustrated 9 by 12 novella coffee table book, exclusive. That's a 96-page book, Curtis.
But does
Uh,
the coffee table book, turn into a coffee table though, Josh?
it doesn't, I don't think. It's its one fault. I know.
Kramer must not have been with it.
I got to keep it nice so I can sell it on eBay later on for, 3 or 4 times
Million
what I pay
dollars.
for it.
You're right.
Blindside Sunny's fully wearable and functional helmet and neurodynamic display goggles. That's also an exclusive, Curtis. The neurodynamic display bloggles app for display customization. That's also exclusive. The 11.5 by 35-inch Vaxis 3, the father of make-believe bedroom poster. The death certificate of Shiv Trafinder. That's pretty cool. I would prefer it if it was the death certificate of Nolan Ryan. Or,
What?
not Nolan Ryan.
I was like, Dylan Ryan, what does he have to do with this?
You're like, what did he do to you?
Dylan Ryan.
Not
He was
Nolan
a beloved
Ryan.
pitcher. Don't do that to
Uh,
him.
oh my God. Um,
Nolan Ryan?
no, Ryan.
From The Office?
No, from the
I'll take
Armory
that death
Wars,
certificate.
or for the
Oh,
Armory
okay.
Wars.
Yeah, just go with Nolan
Defton Wolf.
Ryan.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Wow.
is that it or is there more?
Oh, it comes with more.
No, let's hear it.
Um,
Continue.
collected in a 12-inch by 16-inch limited edition custom foil stamped box. Oh, that must be this over here. This is the box. And then of
Made
course
out
the
of foil.
Coheed and Cambria, the father of make believe, CD and digital download. Curtis, look at
Is
all
that
this
it?
shit you get. Look at all this shit. Look at that freaking. Look at this helmet, dude.
Is that
You can
it?
customize the display and the goggles. I can make it say
Yeah.
"fuck you."
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
All right. So you people have heard the list of everything that's in this package. And know this man is a grown man. He pays bills. He doesn't have a mortgage yet, but one day he probably will, maybe, unless this thing costs him an arm and a leg, and that will be his mortgage, basically. Oh man, you're gonna wear the helmet, aren't you, when we talk about this album?
I'm definitely gonna be wearing the helmet as soon as it comes in. When the episode starts, I'm wearing the helmet.
He's just gonna be wearing the helmet all the time. Family functions, his job, everything. When he sleeps.
I won't speak anymore. I'll just use the app to change the display in the goggles to say what I want.
Make him like eyeballs.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Okay. I also want to go over the track list real quick.
Yep.
We're continuing the saga, Curtis.
What?
We've been promised 5 acts of Vaxis, and we are going into Act 3. This chapter, the first one was Vaxis 1 on Heavenly Creatures, Vaxis 2, Window of the Waking Mind, and Vaxis 3, The Father of Make-Believe. We've got 14 tracks on this, which I'm pretty stoked about. They didn't cheat, they didn't rip us off with that. Yesterday's Lost, Goodbye Sunshine, Searching for Tomorrow, The Father of Make-Believe, Mary of Mercy, Blindside Sunny, Play the Poet, One Last Miracle, Corner My Confidence, Someone Who Can, and then we've got a new what do we want to call it? Saga, Curtis. We've got a new saga, and it's the Continuum, parts 1 through 4. Welcome to Forever, Mr. Nobody, The Flood, Tethered Together, and So It Goes.
And so it goes.
So It Goes is a very ominous end to this album.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't sound great.
I'm interested to hear about where Cyrus goes in this story now.
Right, now that he's in it.
Yeah.
That's why I need
gonna
a coffee
happen?
table book, Curtis. I gotta this knowledge will be lost to history one day, and I need to have it in my possession.
During the apocalypse, I'll be the only one with it.
I'll have these books, yeah,
People will come to me for the information.
to know. Yeah.
To know. I gotta know, man. I walked all the way from the ends of the earth. I need to know. I
When I
ate my own
rebuild-
child. I need to know.
When I rebuild the world, I'll claim that these are history books.
These are history books.
This actually happened.
While he's still wearing the helmet.
It was crazy.
Oh, it was crazy, man.
Did you get a chance to listen to Searching for Tomorrow?
Yeah, I told you I
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You liked it? Okay.
Yes, I liked it very much. It's very promising. So no, I'm not gonna judge it all in one song, but it's
It
very
still
promising.
fits
It
our
still
sound
fits.
for
Yes. Yes.
especially Vaxis 2.
Yes, yeah. I was about to say I think it could have gone on Vaxis too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So no, I'm
So
excited for it, man.
I'm feeling good about this.
I mean, who was the one that told you about it?
it was you, good sir.
Me?
It was you.
Me?
But you know, it was so funny.
me.
Like after that, when I went to open my phone to look at it, it was like my top article on like my Google suggestions. And I don't have any
I
of like
know.
my voice stuff like turned on. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man. I was like, it knows me so well.
It just knows you, man. It just knows you. You know me so well, Google. All right, well. Is that it?
Oh yeah, and I'm sure we'll have to do a full episode in March after
Oh my God.
the album comes out.
Bonus episode. Alrighty, cool, man. All right, that's been what'd you call it? Coheed Corner?
Coheed Corner. Wow.
All right. That was sad.
Oh.
This is a grown man in his 30s.
Oh my God, please.
No, just kidding. Wait, I'm a grown man in my 30s. Crap. Anyway, oh. Alrighty, Josh. Thank you for that. Sponsored by the Church of Seven Track, Coheed's Corner. That sounds like a gas station. Coheed's Corner. Come on down to Coheed's Corner. We got all beers and everything, man.
Should we very quickly propagate the Church of the Seventh Track? Camper Valorium Volume 1. Okay. Uh, Once Upon Your Dead Body.
That's why they're sponsoring this, man. What else you got?
Um, Hold on. I'll just get something random for you here.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Suicide Silence. We got on No Time to Bleed. Oh, and then she bled. That is the song that has
Ew.
that track in it, bro. The the 911 call. Oh my God.
We gotta move on, man.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk confusion. You want to? Today we're finishing our look at the band known as Bury Your Dead. Josh, did you bring your shovel tonight? I
I
brought
brought my
mine.
shovel.
Good. Let's get to digging. All right. When we last left off, their second vocalist, Matt Brusso, had just left, and their lineup consisted of founding members Brendan MacDonald on guitar and Mark Castillo on drums, as well as guitarist Eric Ellis and bassist Aaron Patrick. Now, with Brusso leaving, he would be replaced by vocalist Michael Crafter, formerly of the band I Killed the Prom Queen, for a short time, but he would soon leave during the band's Don't Call It a Comeback tour, initially citing homesickness, but later revealing some interesting insider information about the current state of the band at the time. Stating that they were, quote, crazy big fights every night. That's people. Calling the situation chaotic and, quote, psycho. While also citing gang association with those close to the band, which according to Crafter made the tour, quote, awkward. Yeah, that's not it's not good. I mean, I get
Those
the
damn
I get
straight edge gangs.
well, I must say I get the fights. You know, I mean, you get crammed in a van for days on end. That can be a problem. The gang association, eh, it's a little it's a little messy, man. And unfortunately, Josh, these gang ties are going to come back to bite the band as guitarist Eric Ellis would be jumped and beaten by 6 gang members in Milwaukee, Wisconsin during a tour in 2008. Not good.
What
Not
gang,
good.
Curtis? Is it a straight edge gang?
I don't know. I didn't get a name. I did not get a name.
Lamb.
Didn't get that license plate, Josh. Didn't see it. Crafter would be replaced
What's his
by
name?
Michael Crafter.
That's who got jumped.
Formerly, no, Eric Ellis is the one who got
Oh,
jumped.
okay.
Yeah. Michael Crafter is the vocalist who just could not handle these gang association ties. They're not for me. Yeah, Crafter would be replaced by Mike Terry, formerly of the band Cassius. Now, after all that, writing and recording would commence for the band's next album, 2008's self-titled Bury Your Dead, from Victory Records. Once again produced by Jason Sukoff, who has done work on previous albums for the band. This is the last album for Eric Ellis, and this album sold 4,700 copies in its first week of sales, entering the Billboard 200 at number 176. Did you catch a name on that gang yet, Josh?
No, but this just looks like weirder and weirder the more I look into it. It's
What do you mean?
like he gets he gets sentenced to jail time after
Yes.
this for some reason.
For gang ties.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got some gang ties too, apparently. I don't know if anybody else does, but it seems to be he was the problem.
Okay.
So, yeah. Catherine Fulton of AllMusic.com wrote a review of the album stating, quote, Bury Your Dead has gone through several lineup changes, so it's no surprise that the band's sound continues to change from album to album. On Bury Your Dead, the group is still harsh, loud, and aggressive, but this time around they seem more inclined to experiment with melody and a sound that's expansive as opposed to the more concussive beauty in the breakdown. Bury Your Dead is once again paired with producer Jason Sukoff here, so perhaps the shift is due to Mike Terry, who joined the group after the departure of former vocalist Michael Carter. Terry, formerly of Cassius, leads his new band well. His voice is not only powerful but versatile, moving deftly between growls and melodies and adding dimension to Bury Your Dead in the process. Where Terry goes, his band follows. There are intriguing moments during Sympathy, Orchestra, and Fever Dream when the rhythmic chugging of the guitars gives way to the broader chorus. The music goes from claustrophobic to expansive as soon as Terry stops roaring and starts singing, and some of the vocal harmonies are reminiscent of Avenged Sevenfold. Bury Your Dead is constantly moving, its songs driven by a pounding rhythm section, but it's not as suffocating as Beauty in the Breakdown. If anything, the band sounds more polished here, though the effort is not a flawless one. Bury Your Dead does slow down in spots, eventually becoming completely mired during Disposably Yours, a song that thrashes plenty but doesn't go anywhere as it repeats the same beat, the same chords, and the same barked vocals. The album picks up again with Fool's Gold, which opens with some layered and surprisingly delicate guitar work before unexpectedly plugging into a furious verse. It's a song that sums up this incarnation of Bury Your Dead, whose greatest strength lies in subtle reinvention. Songs in this album include Sympathy Orchestra, Hands to Hide the Shame, Fever Dream, Womb Disease, Infidel's Hymn, Year One featuring Mark Tremonti of Alter Bridge and Creed, Angel with a Dirty Face, Disposably Yours, A Devil's Ransom, Fool's Gold, and the finale, Dust to Dust. He is still doing research over there. Josh, what are you finding out? Not good. Not good. Is it getting worse?
It's just weird. Like the initial attack, Milwaukee police even like label it as like a gang initiation.
Okay.
And there was no like robbery or anything that took place.
Him getting jumped and beaten up? Or
Yeah,
him
that it
getting
was
the
like
jail time?
somebody
Okay.
else's initiation.
Okay.
But then this stuff about him getting like sentenced to 20 years, it's like, so this is from Punk News. His former Bury Your Dead guitarist Eric Ellis has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for gang activity. Ellis, who went to trial in Florida earlier this year, was accused of being a member of a gang inspired by Sons of Anarchy. He, along with fellow gang members, was convicted of conspiracy and violation of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act. The gang committed a series of violent felonies and crimes, including extortion that left one man nearly dead, the choking of a young woman until she passed out, armed bank robberies, armed home invasions, daily cocaine and opiate sales, and theft of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from local stores.
Ah, that's rookie stuff. Yeah,
It's
that's
all
tough, man.
like, I don't know, it's just kind of like super small like that. So it kind of just sounds like him and some friends.
What constitutes a gang, though? How many people
Huh?
I said what constitutes a gang?
I don't
At
know.
what point can you say that's a gang or we're a gang? How many people do you need? What do you need to do?
Maybe like
You
three
know what
or
I'm
four
saying?
people?
Yeah. So
More
I'm
than
just
two?
saying. Yeah. What labels a group of people then as a gang? What activities do you have to be into? You know?
I mean, technically, I think a gang, you could just be called like a group of people,
Right. Yeah.
like you and the gang.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, you got music, dude. What do you need all that for? You know?
Well, I'm imagining this is probably something that he was involved in before the
Before.
band to some extent.
Well, you got music now. What do you need that
Even
for?
if not the gang, then probably the crime aspect.
Yeah, that's true. Self-titled, Josh. You get a new vocalist. You're turning more melodic. I mean, I feel like you still have a little hint of, like your previous album, but you're starting to kind of turn a corner here, you know?
Yeah.
So what do you think about their self-titled?
It feels like
Where does the confusion come in, Josh?
the confusion doesn't come in until the next album.
Oh, that's right. You said that. I forgot about that. Okay.
This one I feel like is still on par with Beauty and the Breakdown. It's just I don't know. I thought throughout all three of these albums that like it kind of feels like the well is running empty.
Yeah, I agree.
That there, yeah, there's some awesome guitar lines here and there. Um, but ultimately, all three albums are just kind of lackluster. Even the last one, which I felt like was kind of a return to that sound from the first, or well, from Cover Your Tracks and Beauty and the
Beauty.
Breakdown.
Yeah.
It still just felt like, man, there's just not a lot left here. And I know how you feel about like a lot of hardcore that it feels like it gets repetitive,
Yeah.
but there's ways to make,
For sure. Yeah.
a good album after good album and it not feel stale and repetitive. I mean, Stick to Your Guns did it all the way until their last one. Um,
Or Spectre.
yeah.
I think they're working on a new one too. It's supposed to be coming out here.
I don't care. I don't care for this new
He's like,
drummer.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care for this new drummer.
Yeah, and didn't we decide this would be the one that would because the last Spectre, he wasn't on Spectre. And so this newest one would
No,
be
George like recorded all the drums for
right.
it.
Yeah. I think I think this new album is supposed to be More Than a Witness. I thought that was, but it's not showing up like the Coheed one. I thought it did. That's weird. Okay. Um,
But I do like this album a lot more than It's Nothing Personal. Like this is an acceptable next album after Beauty and the Breakdown. But I just
right. Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. It feels like it's still got those elements from Beauty and the Breakdown, but it's starting to kind of turn a corner
I was gonna say like
to
you can
where it goes
feel
with
it
nothing
kind of
personal.
starting to wane here.
Yeah. This new album from Stick to Your Guns is next year. Keep Planting Flowers is what the album's called. And they've got two singles so far released.
Keep planting flowers.
Keep Planting Flowers. Now, if you go on Spotify, it's not that title. Because I think they just have it up as like the singles. That was according to Wikipedia. Um, yeah, it has it. It's if you're looking at it, it's the red background with the girl with the gas mask, watering flowers.
Okay.
And I think the single or the title of it is More Than a Witness is what it's under, but there's two singles on there. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's like I said, it's got that still got some elements from Beauty and the Breakdown, but it's you can tell where it's going with Nothing Personal coming up next. So, and I personally I don't like that. I like if I'm gonna listen to Bury Your Dead, I'm gonna listen to Matt Brusso, Bury Your Dead. So Cover Your Tracks, um, and Beauty and the Breakdown.
Right.
So I'm not gonna listen to this. And I said it before on the last episode. This guy, Mike Terry's vocals at times, especially on It's Nothing Personal, sounds like Corey Taylor from Slipknot to me. And I feel like when you get to It's Nothing Personal, it sounds like Slipknot light. it sounds like you're going for more of a commercial sound. And at times I was like, this sounds like Slipknot, just the way some of the music was going and with his vocals too.
Yeah.
I was like, "Ugh, bah, bah." But alrighty, you got anything else for their self-titled, Josh? I mean,
Not really.
let me ask you this. I don't know if you because you were deep in research. Did you hear there is a guest on a guest spot on one of these songs? Year One features, I believe it was a guitar part. It's not vocals. I believe it was guitar from Mark Tremonti of the bands Alter Bridge and Creed. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit, man.
I
So
don't
I'm gonna
care
tell
for
you so,
that.
I'm gonna tell you something. It kind of goes with what we were just talking about. I don't like the direction of this band right now on these two albums, and I don't think that right there helps it. So,
No,
you know,
definitely doesn't.
so definitely doesn't help my opinion on it. But anyway, that is 2008's Bury Your Dead from Victory Records. I will say the album artwork still holds up with where we were coming from, I feel like. I think it's a good
Right.
little album artwork for it, but
You know what this album artwork says to me, though? This says we are on
Misfits?
Victory
Oh.
Records.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Alrighty, carrying on. The
Especially
band
since
would
the band like really used to have that like bleeding through look,
right,
like a
yes.
lot of kind of black spiky hair and eyeliner.
This guy, I don't know which one he is in the band, but he makes the way he's looking right here with the bald head and the mustache makes me think of Tom Hardy in Bronson as
Okay.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a good
that's a
movie.
movie. We were
Oh,
talking
that's a good
before
movie.
about like movies that leave you really depressed at the end, and that's a
What?
movie that leaves you quite depressed at the end.
Really? Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
have that
bro, he's just
same
in
feeling.
that cage.
Yeah, but he was fine. He's happy.
Yeah, I guess.
He's in his own little world, bud.
Yeah.
Uh, the band would join Parkway Drive, Suicide Silence, and To Kill on a tour in Europe to promote their new album. Once the tour had ended, guitarist Eric Ellis would leave the band, citing medical reasons and personality differences. But years later, as Josh brought up, Ellis would be arrested and sentenced to 20 years in jail in 2012 for his involvement in a Jacksonville gang responsible for numerous crimes. Would you say they were trying to be like the Sons of Anarchy?
It was
Come on,
weird. It
bro.
said like a gang inspired by that,
And we're inspired by the Sons of Anarchy.
I guess.
Rum, rum, rum. Yeah. Alrighty.
If you were
The
like a
band.
motorcycle gang, I guess I would get it, but they like weren't.
I was supposed to say, did they ride motorcycles?
Nothing said that.
Bicycles. We're on bicycles instead. Ring, ring. Yeah. Instead of the revving in the motors, it's all them just ring, 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 ring,
Ring, ring, ring, ring, ring,
ring, ring, ring,
ring.
ring, ring. Alrighty, the band quickly filled his spot with guitarist Chris Towning, ready to hit the road again in the fall of 2008. The band would be involved in a crash in Ottawa, Ontario, California, California, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, where their van would end up rolling into a ditch, causing several injuries to different members, including a broken arm for bassist Aaron Patrick, a broken hand for vocalist Mike Terry, and lacerations to guitarist Brendan McDonald's leg. And
Oh
to add
no,
insult to injury, Josh,
not
bassist Aaron
lacerations.
to add insult to injury, bassist Aaron Patrick would be ticketed by the police for failing to drive in a marked lane.
I'm having some issues. Okay, I'll bring this up. There's been
Uh-oh.
a few big wrecks with bands that I can think of where they've gotten
Mhm.
some really serious accidents.
Ghost
Probably the
Inside.
worst one is Ghost Inside, right?
Mhm.
Well, within the music that we talk about, I was gonna say how many guys from Skinner died?
Yeah, I was supposed to say half the band from Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
basically, if not
So,
more.
but
Yeah,
within
from
the
what we've
music we
talked
talk
about and such,
about, and
yeah.
in recent years, Ghost Inside probably took the hardest hit. Winds of Plague had a pretty bad van accident where they like rolled down like
Oof, the
the
hill or whatever.
yeah.
Oof.
Um, but I feel like George Costanza, and I'm like, with all these bands traveling around, you'd think there'd be more crashes, right? Like that's just like rule of odds, you know. And in Seinfeld, he's like, with all these teams flying around, you'd think there'd be a plane crash and a whole team would just get wiped out.
Oof.
But I mean, he's not wrong. Like
You
it's just a
can hit
numbers
him up on
game at that
Twitter
point, you know?
at Joshua Lynn Gary. Let him know your thoughts, bands.
It's just a numbers game.
Just like coming on there, you're like, why would you jinx us like that, man? We're about to head on tour, bro. What the hell?
No,
I
I
can't
would
go on
not
tour now.
wish
I
that on
can't go.
anybody, but you
No, I
would
understand
think
what
there
you're
would be
saying.
a lot more with
More
like how
people on
many
the
bands are
road.
driving every single day.
Yeah, that's true, man. Some good drivers out there.
I guess.
Hmm. Once the injuries were healed, the band would return to the studio to lay down tracks for a new album. 2009's It's Nothing Personal from Victory Records. Real quick, we didn't even mention this on the last one. And I think, again, it kind of goes into the genre. Give these guys props for continuously putting out albums almost like every other year.
Right.
They're very on point with it, of just like getting in there, getting it done, getting it on the road, getting back in the studio, getting it done, da 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 da. So. This album was produced by Peter Arucho, and this is the last album for vocalist Mike Terry, guitarist Chris Towning, and bassist Aaron Patrick. This album peaked at number 142 on the Billboard 200, and the album has been described by some as having a more melodic feel than any of the band's previous efforts. James Monger of AllMusic.com wrote a brief review of the band's fifth album, stating, quote, Bury Your Dead's Eponymous fourth album introduced fans to a new lead singer, ex-Cassius vocalist Mike Terry, as well as a much broader focus on melody. That's not to say that the Boston-based metalcore outfit's previous releases aimed squarely for the mosh pit, but it was a substantial enough change to draw comparisons to melodic moshers like Avenged Sevenfold and Sparta. Listeners put off by the new formula will likely be disappointed with It's Nothing Personal, a 12-track juggernaut that blends machine gun riffs and assorted sonic brutalities with big, hooky choruses dripping with traditional emo lyrics like Sorrow Has Become My Only Friend Again, but Bury Your Dead has both the chops and the vision to make it work, while some tracks shoot out of the ear as quickly as they went in. Highlights like Hurting Not Helping, Broken Body, and Swan Song are bright enough to eclipse the occasional slab of mediocrity. Even Without You, a typical sad sack aggro dude tale of heartbreak, rises from its cliched subject matter, and when Terry audibly clears his throat before declaring, Turn your head and run, this is the worst it's ever been. It's a thing of primal and dismal beauty. Songs in this album include Hurting Not Helping, Without You, Broken Body, The Great Demonizer, Dead End Love Song, Swan Song, Lakota, The Forgotten featuring Frankie Palmieri of Emir, Lion's Den, Legacy of Ashes, Closed Eyes, and the finale, Enough. Not a terrible album to me, Josh. I mean, it's got some catchy chorus lines here and there that get stuck in my head. But again, I go back to like the last album. It's not the foundational Bury Your Dead. And to me, at this point, it sounds like a totally different band. Feels like I should be reading a different name, instead of Bury Your Dead. I will say too, thank God on the last album and this one, they did not put the Bury Your Dead song at the very end of the album, like they
Oh,
have on other
it
ones.
would have just
I would have ruined it.
stained that track
Ruined
for me,
it.
you know?
Yeah. Oh God, it would
Um,
have been terrible. He just sings it. Bury your dead.
oh my
Ah,
God.
ah, no.
Um,
Speak up. You're way far away from the mic.
oh, hello. Um,
You're getting too comfortable over there, buddy.
I they're trying to do too many things on this album. He's
Yeah.
trying to play with some different vocal stuff that doesn't play for the sound that they've cultivated up until this point.
Yeah.
There's times where it sounds like they're trying to do some stuff that sounds more like corn. Um, there's
There's a lot.
yeah, there's some cool guitar lines in here, but as a whole, I really don't care for this album. And like I was telling you earlier, like I feel like I felt like there were multiple vocalists on this album because I thought for sure we were going to get on here and you were going to tell me that like, oh, they just didn't have a vocalist during this time, so they got like different guys that they knew to fill in on like each track because that's how different some of these sound.
Yeah.
And that's not good. That's not a plus. Like you want to know who the
That
vocalist
wasn't a
is
compliment.
and you
Yeah.
want his vocals to be recognizable.
Can I tell you the best part on this album, Josh?
Tell me the best part.
The very end of Closed Eyes, when you hear the footsteps walking out and the door closing.
Okay.
You and I have talked about how much we just do not like that trend. I
I
don't
hate
like
that
it,
so
man.
much,
If
dude.
you're
I
gonna
hate
do
it
it,
so
do the
much.
toilet swirling or something next door, like we talked about. Just go crazy with it, man. Quit doing the
All
same
right.
thing over and over.
I
You know?
also don't like at the end of a song when they have the vocalist like like hold out like a long note or something, and then they're like like I don't like that stuff either.
Diarrhea.
Like Winds of Plague has done some stuff like that. I'm like, I don't need
Turn off.
this. I'm
Yeah.
like,
If you're
yeah.
gonna end a song, end it on a note from a guitar or
It
bass
just feels it
drums.
feels gratuitous. Like, oh man, I was so mad when I got done with that. I just stomp out of the studio.
They should have done just like the breathing, and the next thing you know, it's just like stomping out and like slamming the door a couple of times.
From first
Like,
to last,
whoa,
the end
dang.
of Emily, where he gets
Smashes
up
guitar.
and walks out and slams the door.
Right. Yeah. Click,
Like,
click, click. Duh.
I don't know if we
What the
need
hell
that.
was that? Yeah, it's dumb. I don't like that trend. I hate it. I'll never like it. And I'm with you. I'd never really thought about it before, but yeah, the vocal deal where they end like that, dumb.
Don't like
I don't
it.
need you. I don't need to hear your heavy breathing in my ear. Don't need that. Don't want it. So I'm just glad that
Have you ever heard any of the weird stuff that Winds of Plague does on their later albums?
no, it's some
Between
things.
life and death.
What?
Uh,
What is it? What song is that?
oh my god.
What song is
Um,
that?
let me see here real quick.
Yeah, because I want to hear that. Yeah, that's funny. All their top 5 songs is from Decimate the Week. That's hilarious.
it's
Tells you
I
a
think
lot.
it's on Against the World. It would probably be the Warrior Code. Yeah, the Warrior
Where's it
Code.
at
Just
in the
push
song?
play.
Oh. What in the heck? Sounds like am I listening to like a South Park episode or something?
Ding ding dong dong ding ding.
Oh my gosh. That's dumb. That was dumb.
But my favorite thing about Winds of Plague has always been her like synth style because
Yeah.
she does a very like kind of feudal Japanese sounding, like that's the consistent theme she goes with.
Yeah.
and it just plays so well with their music.
Well, don't they do that on their album artworks? Is like a yeah, it's
Oh
a
yeah.
samurai
And the
deal.
first time I
So
saw
they
them,
really
they
lean
had
into
these
that.
big banner things like on the stage too. And then when they all like flipped around, it was like all these different like samurai scene things, you know? Yeah, because most of their album art kind of has to do with that.
Yeah.
I will say, if you didn't listen to Blood of My Enemy, which was their most recent one that came out, that is a pretty solid listen. They came back
Okay.
pretty hard.
Okay. That's their newest one, 2017. Dang, people.
I
Keep with it.
think so.
Yeah, looks
Yes.
like it. Boy, they don't put out albums very often. Although they did have a run of 2008, 9, and 10, so I'll give them that. They probably tapped out for a while after that. Like,
Resistance
all
was
right, we gotta take some time, man.
okay, but Blood of My Enemy, like there's some pretty brutal songs on there. There's some kind of cheesy ones, but like Dark Waters, like that one is so sick. It's the ending track for that album.
Oh, okay. All right. Better get out of there before I say something stupid. Um, uh, back to Bury Your Dead, Josh. Did you have anything
Who?
else for this? Did you have anything else for this this guest album?
No, I don't like it. I don't like
This
this one,
guest vocal
Curtis. I don't
album?
care for this.
Well, thank God Mike Terry doesn't stick around for very long. In support of their newest album, the band would be invited to join Disturbed on their Music as a Weapon 4 tour, alongside bands Killswitch Engaged and Suicide Silence. Once touring had ended, bassist Aaron Patrick would depart from the band, being replaced by former For the Fallen Dreams and Alicia member Chris Kane, who would depart before the recording session of the band's next album would begin. Following the band's stint on the Deathless Tour with Throwdown, For Today, Abacab, and The World We Knew, drummer and founding member Mark Castillo would leave the band, eventually being replaced by Dustin Schoenhofer, formerly of the band Walls of Jericho. And at the beginning of 2011, vocalist Mike Terry would leave the band, paving the way for the return of former vocalist Matt Brusso. Once he returned, the band would quickly enter the studio to record and release their next album, a Back to Basics album, 2011's Mosh and Roll from Media Scare Records. Produced by Shane Frisbee, who has done work with The Ghost Inside, Corpus Christi, Becoming the Architect, D's Nuts, and many other bands. With the exception of the title track, all songs on the album are named after the works of author Kurt Vonnegut, who is an American author known for his satirical and darkly humorous novels.
Oh, of
Such a
course.
such a rascal. Allmusic.com writer. Yeah, why couldn't you just like stick with something like give me like I don't know, Russell Crowe movie titles, or Denzel Washington movie titles or something. I don't know. Something simple again. I don't know who the heck this author is. Never read any of his work. Don't want to read any of his work. Allmusic.com writer Thom Urich wrote on the band's newest album, stating, quote, when ex-Cassius vocalist Mike Terry replaced Bury Your Dead frontman Matt Brusso after 2006's stellar Beauty and the Breakdown, the band were in a period of transition. They kept the hardcore alive, but also introduced more melody into their proceedings, creating a different vibe. Not surprisingly, the band picked up some new fans while touring endlessly, but they lost a core faithful who'd been with them from the beginning, too. This is no reflection on Terry. He was exactly what the more expansive music called for, as Bury Your Dead became more of a formal metal band than a hardcore unit. Move forward to 2011, Bury Your Dead left their deal with Victory Records and signed with the more sympathetic Media Scare Records. They also revisited their roots sound and coaxed Brusso back into the fold. The end result is Mosh and Roll, the most brutally satisfying recording in their catalog to date. Russo is the grand nihilist, hardcore lyricist and a presence who commands the same authority as the guitars, bass, and drums. By the way, the mix here, stellar. The drums and bass sound like what they are, not fired and click tracked and compressed to death. Charging full bore into the bleak oblivion of Slaughterhouse 5 and taking everything in their path with them. There is nothing to lose, everything is falling apart anyway, and Barrier Dead pulls out all the stops down into the sinkhole. Over and over again, check the 6-note riff that opens Bluebeard with its naughty tangled guitars, pummeling drums, and the chanted call and response vocals. These are songs that are meant to be screamed live at an audience who screams back. The chunk and crack of the Sirens of Titan is downright scary in its intensity, but giddy in its abandon. The low-end bass notes in Mother Night give way to a mid-tempo rampage that in its assault is as brutal as the band's attack at full speed. Jailbird, the album's longest track at 3 minutes and 39 seconds, has one of those elastic, instantly recognizable riffs that hints at the stop and start violence in the instrumental mix that Brusso meets head on and conquers. Mosh and Roll may sound like a throwaway title, but you'd be wrong to dismiss it. This steaming pile was made for the pit. Yeah, the steaming pile was made for the pit, and that's weird, it doesn't disappoint for a second. That doesn't sound right.
The
Sounds like
steaming
he's-
pile of shit was meant for the pit.
I don't know, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, but he didn't say that. He just
The
says the
steaming pile of what?
That's what I'm like. Well, are you calling it bad? But then you're saying it doesn't disappoint for a
weird.
second.
That's weird.
Yeah, backhanded compliment? I don't know. Songs on this album include Slaughterhouse 5, Nothing Is Lost, Save Honor, Bluebeard, The Sirens of Titan, Dead-Eyed Dick, Time Quake, Sun Moon Star,
Oh my god.
Slapstick, Mother Night, Jailbird, and you gotta do it, Josh. You gotta bring back Mosh and Roll. Alrighty, Josh, this is their latest full-length album, 2011, Mosh and Roll. What are your thoughts?
Mosh and Roll does go really hard,
The
but
song
you
or the
just
album?
can't the song. You can't think about it too much because if you do, then it's like, okay, well, this is not even the original vocalist. Like,
right.
how much does a callback like this really mean when we're not sitting on, at least mostly original members?
Right, but this is so. I mean, obviously, the very first time they did Mosh and Roll was on You Had Me at Hello. Yes, it was their founding vocalist, but they do it again on Cover Your Tracks, which has Matt Brusso, who is on this album now.
Right. It just
So,
feels like it's more fractured, like each album that it goes on. So it's like by this time,
okay.
you know,
I mean, at least it wasn't like an exact copy. I feel like there was little things that they kind of changed up here and there, you know?
yeah,
Obviously, not the lyrics, but
right.
um,
But I mean, that being said, it's impossible for me to hear this song and not like crank it up and start dancing around.
oh, for sure, yeah.
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
I do like this album. I feel like it was, like I said earlier, it was a return to what I feel like the essence of this band was. They're getting back to their roots here for sure. It's a really good sign for me, starting the album off with a great line like I dress myself for my own funeral tonight. There's a couple callbacks in this album to Beauty and the Breakdown, with the Poison Apple. I can't remember what the other one was. There was like another callback to Beauty and the Breakdown. So there were a lot of things about this album that I feel like it feels intentional. It feels like, hey, just to let you know, we're aiming for that, like that area. That's what we're aiming for with this album, is a return to that.
Right. I mean, why not? It made you give your name, you know?
Right. Well, it's just nice when a band actually acknowledges that, like, that was that was who our band
Right.
is essentially. That
Yeah.
identity of it. A lot of times bands just delve deeper and deeper and deeper.
Right.
Too greedily, Curtis. Too deep.
Right. You're in too deep. There's no turning back now. One excuse me. One line of lyrics that really stood out to me was from Slapstick, where it says, "You'd run for cover if you knew what I mean when I say a closed fist is a powerful thing." And when he says that about a closed fist, all I could think of was Bill the Butcher. What? Oh yeah. He starts naming off I don't remember what the names of the streets are, but he's talking about, such and such and such and such and such and such. And when I closed my fit, or
Each
what
one of
is
the
it? What is
5 points is a finger,
is a
and when I
finger.
close them,
Close
it
my,
becomes a
yeah.
fist.
Like anytime I can aim that fist at you.
Yeah, at any time, yeah, it could be turned on you.
Yeah.
I understand
It's
what
like,
you're saying. We're talking about
good.
different things.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good though, man. I was like, oh, Bill the Butcher. Classic.
Hey,
Hey. Okay, so I want to talk one thing real quick. They they turned up lyrically, they turned up the F-bombs and everything. And yeah, I think it goes with the genre. But we've talked about it before, and me and Eric have talked about it before, of like, I feel like there's a line at a certain point where separating emotions and like just throwing it out there just because. And I'm not saying that he's throwing it out there just because, but I'm kind of torn on it, you know? Because like I said, I feel like it kind of comes with the territory of like the beatdown hardcore, but I don't know. Like at the same time, I'm kind of like, it just doesn't feel genuine when I hear it, you know?
excessive use like lowers the gravity and the meaning of the
Right.
word, you know? So it eventually it just means nothing, you know?
Yeah.
That, like, if we're just throwing in a fuck every, couple lines, it's like it loses meaning. But, after a huge builder where you've been saying a lot of important stuff, then that's where it has a lot more gravity. I don't know. It's just anything that you overuse like that, it loses its meaning, and
Right.
it loses, the weight, I guess, that it should have behind it. But I don't know.
Well,
I don't think
but
it
the
should
other,
get a pass because, yeah, there's a lot of like bombs being dropped in
it's an air raid,
hardcore
bro. It's
lyrics,
an air
but
raid. Yeah.
it's we've talked
The
about this
other,
with all different genres. It's
right.
just all about your usage.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, I mean, you go back to all the albums that he's been on, Beauty and the Breakdown and Cover Your Tracks. Yeah, there were some in there, but it wasn't like to this extent, you know? And
And
it's
when
like,
there no, and
and
when
that's
there
where I'm kind
were,
of like,
you felt it. Because,
yeah,
like, think about it in
exactly.
the glass slipper.
Right.
Like, when you hear it in there, like, you feel it because
Right.
he's not just dropping it like every couple lines.
Right. I need a
Yeah,
word,
it, it,
guys.
it
What's a
loses its
word?
meaning. I think that's like the best way to say it, without just saying like, oh, he's cussing too much. Like,
Right.
those words that are supposed to have, they're supposed to be very heavy. Like, there's supposed to be some gravity there. They
There's some
lose their
weight to it, yeah.
meaning when you use them this much. So,
Um, I didn't mention this earlier, but Eric asked me a question earlier today. Um, he said, this is going back to the last episode. He said, "Is You Had Me at Hello your shortest album that you guys have talked about of any band?" And I was trying to remember what the time was on that.
Well,
Let
we
me look it
haven't
up
done
real
the
quick
daughters
here.
episode, so
Right,
quite
yes. I
possibly.
know, yes, I know we have to kind of throw that one out there because that's coming up sooner or later. And
Daughters.
those albums are ridiculous, man. But okay, so You Had Me at Hello clocks in at 33:20, which I know we've done shorter one. I think
Probably.
well, Cover Your Tracks is 31.
I mean, and there's
Um
EPs
right, but
that
he
would
okay,
definitely be shorter than that.
right, but we okay, I didn't mention that. He said a full length. It has to be a full length.
Okay.
So no EPs. Even Mosh and Roll clocks in at 30:32. So I was like, well, that's a good, interesting question. Just not of like Bury or Dead, but just like overall, got me thinking of like all the different bands that we've talked about so far. And from what I can figure, the shortest full-length album that we've discussed is To Beat a Dead Horse by Touche Amore, clocking in at like 18 minutes, almost 19 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which then in my mind, I hear you say, it's not a full length, man.
No, I
So
mean, how many tracks is it?
there's probably 10, maybe.
No, it's about the number of
Yeah.
tracks for me. I don't care how
Right.
long the tracks are. If it's got I'd say 10. Yeah, you can call that a full length.
If there was two tracks on an album and each of them were 14 minutes long, is it a full
EP.
length or is it an EP? It's an EP.
EP.
Let's see. Okay, To Be a Dead Horse.
Curtis, if it's any less than 8 songs, and I hate myself for even saying that low of a number.
Well,
If
that's
it's
that's
any
low,
less than
bro.
8 songs, Curtis, that's an EP.
Careful,
In
because
my
there's
head. In my
there's
head.
so To Be a Dead Horse clocks in at 18 minutes 30 seconds. Careful, Josh, because there's a couple. Let's see. Oh no, let me pull this up here. Great Misdirect from Between the Buried and Me. 6 songs,
EP.
59 minutes, 33 seconds.
EP. Long EP.
Long EP, man. Long EP. White Wall or White Walls. Colors is 8 songs, an hour and 4 minutes. There was
Full
another
length.
one I thought that was, let's see. No, not that one. Yeah, and there's two albums that come at the end of their discography or the newer discography. It's like a two-part album, so I don't even know why he released it two parts, but it's Automata 1 and Automata 2. And the first one is 6 tracks, 35 minutes. The second one is 4 tracks, 33 minutes. I'm like, why didn't you just release those at the same time, man? But
Yeah.
anyway,
That is
anyway,
weird.
we're getting off track. But anyway, I thought that was kind of an interesting because I never really thought about that before until he asked me. So it
Curtis, I hate
seems
to
to
break this
me
to you. This show is nothing but off track.
this is true. This is true. Let's get on track. You want to?
It's a quirk.
Uh, yeah. Anything else for their latest full-length album, 2011's Mosh and Roll? It feels so weird to say that.
No, I mean just there's a lot of things I like about it, but there's also a lot of things that do feel tacky about it too. It bounces back and forth. Every time I feel like it starts to lose me, then I'm like, okay, no, like yeah, this is kind of sick. And I
Yeah.
start going back the other way. So Mosh and Roll saves it at the end. I think it creates a false sense of what you just heard overall,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it hits you with the nostalgia really hard in the end. And I think that I think the first time I listened to this album, I got through it and I thought it was a lot better than I really feel like it is. Then on second listen, I was like, okay, yeah, this is not as great as I feel like I was really giving it credit for here.
Once the
But-
album was released, touring would commence once again in support of their newest album, with several live members added as Matt Brusso on vocals, Chris Towning on guitar, and Brendan MacDonald on guitar would be the only full-time members at that moment. Touring off and on would occur over the next several years, but in 2016, Josh, it was announced that Aaron Patrick on bass and founding member and drummer Mark Castillo were rejoining the band. Eventually, the band would
Whoa.
gather once again in the studio to release an EP 2019's We Are Bury Your Dead EP from Stay Sick Records.
So,
did you get go
how
ahead.
many do we have from the original lineup now? Just the two?
Just the two, guitarist Brendan MacDonald and
Okay.
drummer Mark Castillo.
Okay.
Yeah, those are founding members. Only two founding members. Yeah. Did you get to listen to this EP, Josh? It's not on Spotify.
It is on Spotify.
Oh, it is? I didn't think it
Yeah.
was.
It's under E
Maybe I
EPs.
overlooked that one. Maybe I overlooked it. I somehow missed it. I went on to YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I listened to
Whoops.
it.
Oh, there it is. Good. I don't know how I missed that one. What did you think, Josh, of this EP? Because we're starting to kind of talk about Future now, because they're still together, and this is their latest release.
Right.
You know,
Um, it's pretty heavy. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty heavy. I do feel like maybe we might have tuned down a little bit. I could
I
not
was-
find any tabs for
Yeah.
this EP anywhere, so I'm not 100%.
I was going to ask you, have we changed genres?
I feel like it a little bit,
Because
yeah.
this doesn't feel like what it was.
Right.
This feels more metalcore to me.
Yes. And we're doing some kind of dual vocal stuff or like vocal overlays at the very least.
Probably overlays, yeah.
They're mixing like the highs and the lows, to kind of get that weird in between sound.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, I don't know. It's an album that I acknowledge as being good. It's well put together, but it just doesn't really do a lot for me because, like I said a million times, I came here for Bury Your Dead, which was kind of an older hardcore sound, you
Yeah,
know?
your early to mid 2000s. Yeah,
Yeah.
hardcore.
And we've kind of gravitated towards this.
We've been put through the ringer.
Right.
That's what's happened.
I would like this EP if it was called We Were Bury Your Dead. Because of the sound, but
that's a good
also
one.
I don't think two guys, the drummer and the bassist, the guys who are just in charge of keeping time, are a good representation of We Are Bury Your Dead.
Drummer, guitarist.
Oh,
not
drummer,
bassist.
guitarist. I thought you said drummer, bassist. My bad.
No, guitarist.
Well, that's slightly better.
Still.
But if it had been
Still.
like all four of them coming back together, like the group from Beauty and the Breakdown and Cover Your Tracks, like
Well, I mean, if you're done that, then we've got we've got four of the five then. That would be because I think Aaron Patrick was because Matt Brusso is from that era because he did
Okay.
vocals on Cover Your Tracks and whatchamacallit. Aaron was on Beauty and the Breakdown. So in a way, if you're talking from that era, you
mhm,
got four out of the five because Chris
Okay.
Towning would be the only one that wasn't in that era
okay.
because he didn't come in until self-titled.
Okay, I feel a little bit better about that then because if it was just like half and half, then it's like,
Yeah.
that'd be like if Maylene put out one called We Are Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. So I know, no, you're not.
No, it should
Really
be
not.
I am Maylene.
Yeah, we
The
were
Dallas Taylor.
Maylene
We
and the Sons of
were.
Disaster. I am Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. They are not.
Right.
But
Do I have
there
news for
are
you,
some
Josh?
really
Maylene has a
sick.
new album coming out, and it's going to be titled "We Are Maylene."
No, it's not. And no, there's not. There's never going to be another album.
There's never going to be.
There are some really cool like guitar lines in this, but like you said, we've transitioned to
Genre.
metalcore at this point. Um, if the band were to continue in this direction, I don't know that I would necessarily really care very
Yeah.
much, you know? I mean, I realized this album was like 5 years ago, so probably not a whole lot of hope to get
Well,
them
so
producing full lengths here.
right. So you get this 2019. We all know what happens in 2020. It shuts everything down.
What?
We've
What
talked
happened?
about it nausea.
I was out there. I don't know what was going on.
Always talking about, man. I was out there. No mask and everything, man. Just
There
running
weren't
around
lines for
naked.
anything. It was crazy.
It's crazy, man.
I couldn't
Where's
figure
all the
out what
people
was
at?
going on.
Yeah, COVID, all that shutting everything down. So, I mean, I would assume, their plan probably was to come off of that EP with a full length, but with COVID coming in, and then you come on over to 2024, um, at their recent live set at Furnace Fest, Matt Brusso, announcing his departure from the band. So now you're without the vocalist. And even before that, actually, before even COVID happened, you lose your founding member and guitarist Brendan MacDonald. So now you're down to three guys. And I'm kind of skipping through some different things there, but I'm okay with that. Because I wanted to ask you this, because I was going to wait, but you kind of brought it up with the album when we were talking about that. So I wanted to ask you, your current lineup now in 2024 is Chris Towning on guitar, who came in on self-titled. You got bassist Aaron Patrick, who came in on Beauty and the Breakdown, and then you've got founding member Mark Castillo, but at the same time, it's like he's been in and out of the band a lot. So it's not like he's been there from the very beginning, just constantly, right? With him being the only founding member, you're down to three guys. You're kind of in this mode of like that EP was kind of a genre change. Like, should this even still be a band, Josh? Now I've got to, oh crap. Now I gotta like kill some time here while he comes. Oh, there he is. Thank God. Thank God. I had nothing on my mind.
Sorry to let one of the cats in.
No, you're good. Um, yeah, with all that, just the three members, only one founding member left. And again, he's been very in and out of the band at times. You come off this EP with kind of a genre change a little bit. You don't even have a vocalist now. Should this even still be a band, in your opinion?
No. You know I
Simple.
don't like
No.
that. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it
Yeah.
when a band has completely changed over a few times and oh, but we're still Bury Your Dead. It's like not really though.
Yeah,
Like
but you
I
know
I
what?
feel
Hey,
better I feel better about this because this is all members from like different eras of this band and not the same, but a relatively similar situation. You know who I'm going to mention? Who is it,
name
Curtis?
it.
Who am I going to bring
Norma
up? I haven't
Jean?
talked about him in a while, but
Who?
Arsonists Get All the Girls.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They, yeah, they've had some changes, but it's all changes like from within from the most part.
Right.
So, and from like different eras of the band.
The
So,
band, yeah.
I'm more okay with that because yeah,
Saving
like
grace
true
there.
to the statement, you guys are Bury Your Dead because you've all been in Bury Your Dead at different points.
Right.
So that's fine with me. But normally I would say no because there's guys who, oh yeah, we're mailing the Sons of Disaster now. I've been in like 30 other bands for like 10
Right.
minutes, and I just came in on the last 10 minutes of this band, and I'm gonna play all the songs from their first album like I wrote them.
Right. Yeah, but I put the Wawa in there. They didn't have the Wawa on the
They didn't have
original.
that. I
They didn't
added
have
it.
that, man. I had it. That's my signature. Wawa. Sure, Wawa. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to add a vocalist, and unless they're bringing Michael Terry or Mike Terry back or whoever the original vocalist was, I forget his name.
They have to.
You better say if you're gonna stick with that, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to bring one of those guys back, or Matt's gonna have a change of heart, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like you should just give up. Just give it up. If you want to do something else, you three guys go do something else. But I just feel like Bury Your Dead's run its course. You know,
Right.
it had its time, and you talked about it earlier. There's a certain point. Sometimes these bands just need to say it was a good run. Let's go out on a high. You know, or let's go out before we just get burned out by this and we burn too many bridges or whatever.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
got to know when to quit.
exactly. It's the name of the game, man. Gotta know when to quit. Well, that's it, Josh. It's where we're at. Who knows if we'll ever get a full-length album? I was gonna say the EP was "We Are Bury Your Dead." The full length's gonna be "We Were Bury Your Dead."
Okay. It's a farewell.
It's a farewell. Goodbye. Yeah, and it's just them on the front cover. The front cover is this. Back cover is this.
I like it.
Yeah. Alrighty. You have any final thoughts, Josh, on the band known as Bury Ya Dead?
Um, no, I could see a lot of like a lot of metalcore fans um liking this all the way through. So I don't think anything about this band's discography is going to turn a lot of people off, you know?
Yeah.
Um, the numbers, kind of tell a different story on Spotify, but
Let's hear those numbers as we close.
all right, let me go back here.
Yeah, these are numbers by Josh.
Even for an era of, most of these listens were going to be physical CDs. Cover Your
Right.
Tracks is, we've got several over 1 million, few around 500,000. Beating the Breakdown, kind of similar. The self-titled kind of starts to drop off, only one over 1 million and several of just 100,000 or so. It's Nothing Personal, about the same, maybe a little more. That one actually has 1.65 million. So,
Man, Mosh and Roll fell
um,
off, especially
yeah,
towards the
Mosh and
middle to
Roll,
end.
no million plays on that one. And then Collateral has almost 1 million plays, but other than that, I mean, there's one that's 94,000 on here.
Right.
So that's pretty rough.
Rough. Yeah. Well, alrighty, Josh. Let's get on out of here. Let's get our shovels and bury this dead.
Let's bury this band.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurviveByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on the show, but other shows as well. We have the History of the Chorus After Hours podcast, which will have an episode on this very band right here coming out very soon. So be on the lookout for that. We also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons of the Netflix/BBC hit show, The Peaky Blinders. And hey, there's going to be a movie. And hey, we're going to watch it. And hey, we're going to tell you all about it. And then eventually, we'll probably do a rewatch. Not sure how that's going to go, but we'll probably do it. And we also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which has covered season 1, season 2, eventually season 3 of HBO's House of the Dragon. And next summer, we'll be covering season 1 of HBO's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us with big headphones just like Josh, and to see our smiling faces with a big old 72-inch TV, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survive By Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. Ugh.
I'm getting attacked by a cat over here.
What is happening? Which one? Tater.
Sassy, she's going nuts.
Oh, you're going nuts. Okay, all right. All right, until the next episode, well, we're finishing out 2024. We're saying goodbye to 2024 with a good old band known as Between the Buried and Me. Till then, we'll see you.